Hey guys, it's me, MiniBigJack24 here, and today I forgot to make a YouTube video, which honestly surprised me, because I actually forgot that today was the day to do it, because due to me being religious on Rosh Hashanah, which is known as the Jewish New Year. So Happy New Year out there to my fellow Jewish people. I am Jewish as well. Also, today we're also going to be reacting to Oversimplified WW1, part 2. And also, all the copyright does belong to Oversimplified, and this video is meant for only commentary and and for actual jokes and for actual history being told. Anyways, let's begin.
With both sides stuck in a hard stalemate, they knew this war wasn't going to be about taking territory, but about simply wearing each other down. The Allies had plenty of men to expend from its overseas dominions.
That's a lot of overseas. So far we got Africa, oh yeah, I forgot the bombs were part of it. No, is that Jamaica? Pretty sure that is. I know that's the Turks and Caicos. That's a place near Mexico, I'm not sure what. But I do know all the other ones.
And the British also started a naval blockade, so Germany couldn't import stuff, like food. Neither side really wanted a long, grueling war, though, so they both thought of ways to break the deadlock on the Western Front. Idea number one, new frontiers. When the war first broke out, Australia was quick to take German New Guinea. The Allies also quickly jumped on Germany's colonies in Africa, and particularly in German East Africa, locals were enlisted as soldiers and carriers by both sides, leading to a tragic loss of life for the native Africans.
This is sad.
Some new combatants entered the war as well. The Allies' new friends were Italy and Japan.
Somehow this would actually turn out to be the opposite for Germany in World War II.
Japan was busy building itself an empire, so it was more than happy to take away German islands and colonies in East Asia.
The only time when an empire is good and whenever you're in war, call up an empire to take over that region.
Italy actually had an alliance with Germany and Austria-Hungary before the war, but after some tense relations, and then the Allies...
This is really getting confusing because Italy literally becomes friends with Germany later on in World War II.
Some Austria-Hungary stuff, they switched sides. Italy opened up a front in the mountains here, but like everyone else, they were stuck in stalemate for most of the war.
Whenever you get stuck in chess and it's a stalemate.
The Central Powers' new friend was a struggling empire in the Middle East. The Ottoman?
Yeah, that is true.
Men were divided on whether to actually join the war or not, since they had been exhausted by the recent Balkan Wars. Some of the politicians who did want to join went off on their own and fired some shells at Russia, and then came back and said, "Whoops, looks like we're at war now."
Oh my goodness, that is exactly on how to get your country into war when half of your country says no.
The Ottoman entry into the war was of particular concern to the British, since the Middle East was full of oil, and Britain wanted all of that oil.
And I thought America would want it.
The Ottomans tried to...
Yeah, I did try to make an own American joke. Since I am an American, I could technically say that.
Russia in the Caucasus Mountains, but they weren't prepared for the cold, and many of them froze to death.
Oh my goodness, how are you not prepared to fight Russia if you don't know when to time it right? At least don't go into it during winter, that's how you get yourself killed.
Then they crossed miles of desert to take the Suez Canal from the British, but that failed too. Then the Allies tried to take the Dardanelles at Gallipoli in a long and hard trench warfare campaign, but that also failed. The Ottomans blamed their initial losses on the ethnic Armenians living within Ottoman territory, and the resulting Armenian genocide led to the deaths of 1.5 million people.
Well, that's sad.
The Germans sent spies into Afghanistan to try to convince the Arab tribes there to rise up in jihad against the British and attack India. But that plan failed, partly because the spies got bored, brewed their own alcohol, and got drunk.
Alright, so they brewed their own alcohol. That's not good, especially if you're in Afghanistan. Reasons why? Let's stay oversimplified.
It's a bad thing to do in Afghanistan. All these new frontiers hadn't done much to change the war. Aware that the Allies had more men and supplies than them, the Germans knew they had to do something to break the stalemate. Before the war, there was a big conference that set out the rules of modern warfare. No chemical weapons, no killing civilians. Basically,
that is pretty much the rules of any warfare, until the Germans broke that rule. You wanna know why? Well, let's see why.
Don't be jerks. The Germans held a meeting and decided to be jerks.
Yep, they're jerks now.
Zeppelin air raids commenced over British cities. They also
Let me tell you what a Zeppelin is. It's a metal blimp that uses hydrogen. And also, its purpose was created by Graf von Zeppelin to actually use as a war machine. Later, it would actually be used as a transporting thing throughout until the Hindenburg disaster, which actually really went downward on partly on Germany's economy.
started attacking the Allied trenches with chlorine gas, and they used submarines to sink civilian ships.
Oh no, that's not good.
One such civilian ship was the Lusitania, which had 159 Americans on board
In case you guys are not noticing, I am saluting.
sunk, further swaying U.S. opinion against the Germans. Not to be completely unfair to the Germans, the Allies also engaged in chemical warfare soon after, and they had been hiding anti-submarine weapons on their civilian ships, which let the Germans justify their attacks. Meanwhile, Austria-Hungary still hadn't dealt with Serbia, so the Central Powers enlisted some help. Bulgaria wished it was bigger and was still bitter about losing the Second Balkan War. The Central Powers promised to make all of Bulgaria's wildest dreams come true.
That does not seem good.
They helped, so they signed on, and together they knocked out Serbia. The Serbian troops retreated through Albania, which was neutral but had some ties to Austria-Hungary. So Austria-Hungary entered Albania in a friendly invasion.
How do you do a friendly invasion? I understand. And I am actually using quotes for the quote-unquote friendly invasion. But really, how do you do a friendly invasion? Do you just go through the area and like, alright, we're in, we're out. Like that?
Based on the Serbians, many of whom escaped by sea. It's 1916, and a lot is happening. As if they didn't have enough enemies already, Germany added one more to the list. Portugal had
Please don't be America.
getting a bit chummy with the Allies behind the scenes, and Germany didn't like that one bit.
No,
At the same
they
time,
declared war on Portugal. This is madness.
the only sea battle of the war happened. Both sides had a new powerful class of battleships called dreadnoughts, but they were so expensive to build that neither side wanted to risk losing them in a battle, so they kept them in port, except for one time when they had a big fight.
The Battle of Jutland? I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. Right, so, yeah, so the dreadnoughts, big, powerful navy ships for its era, and very, as you said before, yes, they are extremely expensive to build, so it's like neither side wanted to risk using them.
And a bunch of them got damaged, so they didn't try that again. The UK started conscripting men to the army, so they had plenty of reserves, which is just as well because the Western Front was about to get brutal. The longest and one of the bloodiest battles of the war started when the Germans launched an attack around the French city of Verdun. The French defended it desperately, leading to hundreds of thousands of casualties. Under pressure, the French called on its allies to do something to draw the Germans' attention.
Yeah, France, you really need to get a better hold of yourself.
So the British started their own long and brutal fight, the Battle of the Somme, with 60,000 British casualties on just the first day.
Also saluting.
Also here that the British first used one crazy brand new piece of sci-fi technology.
Oh yeah, it's when the British first introduced. Look, we have a tank. The Germans. What is a tank? The British. And come the tanks.
The Russians had been getting pushed back further and further into their own territory, but in response to the French call for help, they began a huge offensive, and did really well until they ran out of supplies and got stuck. Seeing how well the Russians had been
doing, that's not good.
Romania decided now would be a great time to jump in and win the war, and then they got pounded. The Greeks were fighting
not good.
amongst themselves about whether to join the war or not.
Come on, Greek. At least join the Allies, Simon, because we all know that you started democracy.
The Central Powers, while the Prime Minister wanted to join the Allies. After a brief national schism,
oh wow, that does look like a national schism,
during which the country split into two, the king finally abdicated and the country reunited. With Allied help, they began a new offensive. In the Middle East, Russia was pushing into Ottoman territory from the north. The British had also made a landing in Mesopotamia to protect Persia's oil fields, and they had also sent a small army up the Tigris River to try to take Baghdad, but the army got sieged in the town of Kut along the way, and eventually surrendered. And new offensive was launched from the south with all-out desert warfare. The offensive was aided by one famous British officer, better known as Lawrence of Arabia, who helped lead the Arab tribes in a revolt that wreaked havoc on the Ottoman supply lines. By the time 1917 rolled around, everyone was exhausted. There were mutinies in the French army, the
No mutinies.
German populace was starving, and the war had drained all of Russia's supplies. There was no...
Yeah, that was true. It didn't actually drain the majority of Russia's supplies, so it's why it was more starting to become something else they wanted. So that's when they bought in.
And it was still anyone's war. The only question now was, who was going to break first?
Well, if you sent in angry people, starving people, a corrupt monarchy, and if you sent in Lenin, who's a communist, then we would guess Russia. Let's see if I'm right.
And the answer was Russia.
Oh my goodness, I was right.
Not eating, and mad that a crazy magic homeless guy...
Alright, so let me at least explain some part of Rasputin to you. For all you don't know, his wife was explained throughout this catchy song by Boney M. And by the way, all the music right for this does belong to them. This is also one of the very catchy songs that I listen to. Yeah, you can listen to the rest later, but pretty much Rasputin, other known as the man who can heal horses, this isn't people. He literally was known to heal horses. He became friends with the queen of Russia's monarchy, which was Tsar Alexandra, I believe, and Tsar Nicholas II, the last monarchs of Russia, and people actually tried to kill him on several occasions. One where they actually fed him cakes full of cyanide. That, to be fair, when they found his body, he wasn't full of cyanide. So he was full of 2 bullets in the chest and 1 through the head, and scars from him being dumped into a river. An icy cold river.
Following some of the shots, there was an uprising in Petrograd, complete with riots and strikes. The riots turned into...
And we all know what happened in July.
Full-scale revolution, and a new government overthrew the Tsar. Then a few months later, the Bolsheviks overthrew the new government.
And also, in case if you don't know what the Bolsheviks are famous for, or just give me a sec, let me see this. And here it is. No, wait. Sorry, that's my bad. My bad. That was their national anthem. But what they were known for was actually declaring war on people.
And they pulled Russia out of the war. This was great news for Germany, who now only had to focus on the Western Front. But there was still one problem. The pesky United States of America was looking increasingly like it was going to join the war.
We joined the war, America. We need you to save everybody.
Had been selling supplies to the Allies throughout the war and was getting super rich off the back of it.
Yes, America.
Was in fantastic shape and was dangerous to the Germans.
Oh yeah, America just growed a pair of strong guns.
Germany sent a telegram to Mexico saying, "Wouldn't it be crazy cool if you guys attacked America?" But
oh my goodness, that was the Zemer telegraph. Luckily, our good old friend the British.
British intercepted the message, showed it to the Americans, and that was the final straw. American troops began shipping out to Europe. This was terrible news for Germany, and they knew their only...
Germany knew that they were screwed now.
Now was to force France and the UK...
Also, I hate to admit it, Germany, but I'm pretty sure America would have held off Mexico for a long amount of time.
Surrender before the fresh American troops arrived. It was now or never, so they started one final attack. They converged their troops and hit hard at the Somme and pushed the Allies back. They hit a second time further north, then again and again. With each hit, the Germans were spending more and more resources.
Oh no, that's not good. If Germany's only hope now is just to surrender, and let Austria be to blame of it, instead of them.
While the Allies were getting better and better at repelling their attacks. By the fifth punch, the Allies held the line.
It would have stopped a guy by the name of how do I say this? Adolphus Hitler, evilest person on earth, other besides Stalin. Stalin actually was very angry about the Treaty of Versailles, and he was actually fighting for the Germans during World War One. He said war was the best time of his life. Well, that was before an artillery shell blew up and injured his leg. He went back, got blinded by chemical gas temporary, and then learned about Germany's defeat.
And even pushed back. With American troops now arriving in larger numbers, the Allies launched a counterattack, and that was it. The Central Powers were being pushed back on all fronts. Bulgaria collapsed first, followed by the Ottoman Empire, then Austria-Hungary, and finally on November 11th, 1918, at 11 o'clock, Germany surrendered. At the peace treaty, Germany was forced to reduce its military, accept war guilt, and pay the bill for the war.
This was pretty much a scapegoat situation where the Allies just scapegoated the whole world war on Germany.
After indescribable suffering and millions dead, the world learned its lesson and never had such an awful war again.
And let me guess, he's going to say about for 20 years or so, because I'm not sure.
For about 20 years.
Oh my goodness, though people don't know about this. Anyways, in case you guys are new, make sure to join the KK Nation, like the video, and anyways, tell me on how I do with these reactions, but also all the copyright does belong to Oversimplified. And also, I wanted to once again say Happy New Year to my Jewish fellows, friends. Anyways, goodbye.